The Declaration of Independence was presented to a Continental Congress on July 2, 1776. After 2 days of debates, it was ratified on July 4th, now called Independence Day. In this special video, I will be sharing the life stories of Georgia's signers of the Declaration of Independence, and our state's signers of another important document, the Constitution of the United States of America. First, I'll be talking about Button Gwinnett, one of Georgia's most infamous signers of the Declaration. Button Gwinnett was born in April of 1735, though he may have been born as early as 1732. He was born in Gloucestershire, England. His first name came from a family name on his mother's side. At the age of 30, he moved to Georgia to become a merchant. He was not successful, but he was elected to Georgia Commons House of Assembly in 1769. Around the same time, he bought St. Catherine's Island so he could become a planter. This plan also failed, so Gwinnett resigned from the House of Assembly in 1773. Despite failing twice in his business ventures, Gwinnett remained well respected. In 1776, Georgia chose to only send one delegate to the Continental Congress, which residents of St. John's Parish did not like. They sent 2 delegates of their own, Button Gwinnett and Lyman Hall. While serving in this role, Gwinnett signed the Declaration of Independence. After signing it, Gwinnett came back home to Georgia, hoping to become leader of the Georgia militia. A man named Lyman McIntosh got the job instead, and the two men soon became bitter enemies. In April of 1777, Archibald Bullock, the first governor of Georgia, died mysteriously, and Gwinnett was chosen as his replacement. This put Gwinnett in charge of his enemy, Lyman McIntosh. He sent McIntosh to British Florida in an attempt to secure British borders. The mission was doomed to fail, and Gwinnett knew it. McIntosh came back defeated and furious. He called Gwinnett a scoundrel and a lying rascal, and by the next day, Gwinnett had challenged McIntosh to a duel. On May 16, 1777, the two men met near Savannah. Both men were wounded, but only Gwinnett died. Button Gwinnett has the most valuable signature of all men who signed the Declaration of Independence. Our second signer is Lyman Hall, who, like Button Gwinnett, served as governor. Lyman Hall was born April 12, 1724 in Connecticut. He went to Yale and graduated in 1747. He was ordained as a preacher 2 years later. Hall preached at a church in Bridgeport, Connecticut, but was fired after 2 years, and he decided to study medicine. Hall went back to Yale and earned his medical degree. After graduation, he moved to South Carolina. The place Hall chose to settle was Dorchester, near Charleston. Dorchester was made up of a group of Massachusetts settlers who did not like the southern heat. Unable to bear the heat, and after dealing with many diseases, these settlers decided to move further south into Georgia. In Georgia, the settlers founded the town of Sunbury, and Hall became a community leader. Sunbury and nearby Midway, located in present-day Liberty County, were very much for patriot cause. Hall was no exception, and he became one of St. John Parish's representatives to the Continental Congress in 1775. In this role, he became a signer of the Declaration of Independence. After the war, he became a doctor in Savannah. He was the executor of Button Gwinnett's will as well. He was elected governor of Georgia in 1783, and was Georgia's first governor after the Revolution. Hall was mainly remembered for his role in helping to create the charter of the University of Georgia. Lyman Hall died in 1790 in Burke County, Georgia. Our third and final signer of the Declaration of Independence is George Walton, who is the youngest signer from Georgia. George Walton was born sometime around 1749 in Virginia. His parents died when he was young, so he was adopted by his uncle. In 1769, Walton moved to Savannah to become a lawyer. He became very well respected as a lawyer, which is what started his political career. In 1776, Walton was chosen as Georgia's delegate to the Continental Congress, where he signed the Declaration of Independence. Afterwards, he returned home and became a colonel of the Georgia militia. During his time of Georgia militia, Walton was a supporter of Lyman McIntosh and disliked Button Gwinnett. Walton served in militia until the British capture of Savannah in 1778, when he was taken prisoner. Walton was exchanged in 1779, and within a month he was elected governor. He served until 1780. In 1789, he was made acting governor, and he served for 1 year. During this short period, Walton moved the state capital from Savannah to Augusta. In the 1790s, scandal hit Georgia. At the time, Georgia extended out to the Mississippi River, but only land closer to the Atlantic coast had been developed. In an attempt to draw settlers out west, the state offered large tracts of land for sale in present-day Mississippi and Alabama. Unfortunately, several corrupt politicians sold this land to friends for discounted prices. Senator James Jackson returned home from Washington to try to fix this scandal, known as the Yazoo land fraud, and Walton was appointed to fill Jackson's Senate seat in 1795. He and Jackson clashed over the land fraud, where Walton was a senator, as Walton was in favor of the sales. He served until 1796. George Walton died in 1804 in Augusta. All three of these signings of the Declaration of Independence currently have Metro Atlantic counties named for them. On a side note, the family of Lachlan McIntosh is the namesake of McIntosh County near Savannah. In addition, George Walton had an earlier county in Georgia's history named for him. The first Walton County lasted from 1804 to 1811, and was lost to North Carolina in what was called the Walton War, but that's another story. Now we'll focus on Georgia's signings of the Constitution. First is Abraham Baldwin. Abraham Baldwin was born November 22, 1754 in Connecticut. For college, he went to Yale to become a minister. He graduated in 1772 and became a tutor at Yale. He stayed at Yale until 1778 or 79, when he became a chaplain in the American Army. At the end of the war, he became a lawyer in Connecticut. Baldwin received a land grant here in Georgia and moved to Augusta in 1784. While in Augusta, Baldwin became active in politics. The governor at the time, Lyman Hall, convinced him to become the first president of the University of Georgia. Baldwin held the position until 1801. While Baldwin was president, the state never gave the school enough funds to open. The first classes were held in 1801, after Baldwin had left the office. In 1787, he was chosen as a delegate to the Constitutional Convention. He was one of 6 Georgia delegates, but only Baldwin and William Few ended up signing the Constitution. 2 of the other men did not show up, while the other 2 did come to the convention but never participated. While serving at the Constitutional Convention, Baldwin was instrumental in the Great Compromise, which created the House of Representatives and the Senate. After the Constitution's ratification, Baldwin was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives in 1789 as one of the first representatives from Georgia. He served until 1799, when he was elected to the Senate. From 1801 to 1802, he served as President pro tem of the Senate. Abraham Baldwin served until his death on March 4, 1807. For his role as founder of the University of Georgia, the Abraham Baldwin Agricultural College was named in his honor. Our final person for this video is Constitution signer William Few. William Few Jr. was born June 8, 1748 in Maryland. When he was 10, his family moved to North Carolina. The frontiers of North Carolina at the time were growing tired of British rule. A group of frontiersmen, called the Regulators, rose up and battled the North Carolina militia. The Few family supported the Regulators, and one of William's brothers was hanged for his support. The militia burned the family farm, so they had to move further south to Georgia. The Few family moved to present-day Richmond County, and William became a lawyer in Augusta. At the outbreak of the American Revolution, he joined the American Army. Few served as second in command of the Richmond County Regiment. In 1780, he was elected to the Continental Congress, and in 1785, he was made one of the first trustees of the University of Georgia. In 1786, he was appointed to Congress, and in 1787, he was made one of Georgia's delegates to the Constitutional Convention. After signing the Constitution, Few served as a U.S. Senator, and later as a member of the U.S. House. In the 1790s, he spoke out against the Yazoo land fraud. In an attempt to discredit him, Few's political enemies tried to claim he was also a part of this scandal, but they were unsuccessful. In 1799, Few moved to New York City, and he served as part of the New York legislature for 4 terms. He retired in 1815 and went to live at a house in Fishkill on Hudson, New York. William Few died on July 16, 1828. In 1848, the state of Georgia erected a monument in Augusta to the signings of the Declaration of Independence. George Walton and Lyman Hall will be interred at the monument. Unfortunately, the location Button Gwinnett's grave remains have been lost to time, so his body was not moved. A marker is in Savannah at what is believed to be his final resting place, but has never actually been officially confirmed. Abraham Baldwin was buried in Washington, D.C., and William Few was originally buried in Fishkill on Hudson, but in 1973 he was reinterred in Augusta at St. Paul's Church. I hope you've enjoyed my video today. Thank you.